It is June 23rd, 2025, and there are reports of a giant eyeball falling out of the sky. This is Inverted World Live. Welcome back, everybody. This is Inverted World Live, and I am your host, Shane Cashman. I just teleported here from the IRL studio. A little out of breath, but it was a good teleport. We're glad you're here. I hope you had a good weekend. It was a wild weekend for me. This is a call-in show, for those who don't know. Our phone lines are open. The link to call in is pinned to the top of the chat in both YouTube and Rumble. And if you have a strange story you want to tell us about, any weird encounter, you saw a cryptid, you were abducted, strange encounter with something out there in the wild world you want to tell us about, give us a call. We'd love to hear about it. Also, if you've heard something in the show from one of the other callers or something that I have said, give us a call if you disagree or have something else you want to add to it. But I am joined by a very special guest today. Alex is in the house.
I'm back.
You should have broken through with an axe.
Exactly.
That would have been great.
How's it going, everyone? I am Alex Ayala. I'm sitting in the chair today for Brandon Miner, who is home with a toothache or something's going on.
He has some major stuff done, and we hope he's feeling better. But he'll be back.
Yes.
He'll be back, and not tomorrow, but hopefully Wednesday, I think. But it is so good that you're here, chilling. It feels like it's been forever.
It does. I was like, do I remember where I am in this tiny coffin?
It's awesome.
Yeah,
yes.
It feels like home.
So much has changed.
Yes.
So much has changed. We have so many callers.
That's great. I'm
hopefully
excited.
We have lots of callers tonight. For those who are now joining us, this is the call-in show. But we'll talk about a few things first. But
let's also say hi to everyone from IRL who's joining us. Please, like our show, subscribe, call in. We're excited. I'm excited. Come hang out.
Thank you for joining me now after I just sprinted over here from the IRL studio, a little out of breath, but we're glad you're here. And if you missed what I said, this is a call-in show. The link to call in is below. It's audio only for the callers, so you just click that. We'll bring it in, just your voice, and you can tell us anything. We'll ask you some questions, and it'll be fun. I am still super underslept because I've been driving. I went to Florida and back, decided to drive because I'm insane and I didn't have the proper stuff to fly.
You're Clark Kent. That's what you are.
I actually flew. I literally flew. I didn't have a real ID, and my passport is not in good standing. So it's not. It's just expired. But I drove there, and I went to, like I said, on Thursday, which feels like a century ago. Did a great show, did comedy and conspiracy with the great Sam Tripoli and Owen Benjamin. Two people have been on the show, and it was hosted by the Nephilim Death Squad, Top Lobster and Raven. They've also been on the show, and it was a lot of fun. Hopefully that's out soon. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah?
I was on stage with all of those guys when we found out that the United States bombed Iran.
Oh, man.
And, Raven went and told me while I was on stage, and we actually had a Trump impersonator in the crowd who happened to be there from the night before to read Trump's Truth Social post. So that was wild. But shout out to those guys. That was a great time. And I flew back here in my car, and and here I am. It was awesome. And also I want to shout out Danny Jones. My episode with him came out on his show today, and I'm pretty stoked on that. So find that after IWL tonight. It's a lot of fun. We talk about Palantir, we talk about rap music, talk about all the fun conspiracies. And like Alex knows, I taught him about fake clouds, the most important of all the things out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I'm not in the studio and I'm just looking at the clouds, I just think, Shane Cashman.
Right? That's what I want everyone to think that. When they see the clouds, they just think, these are not real, and we got to take them back. We got to take our skies back, people.
Yeah. The weather's been wicked.
The weather's been weird. The weather machines have been turned on full force as we were at war, so-called war. But it's nice now and hot.
Yeah, they're saying in Lake Tahoe there's some wild weather going on now too.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
like snow and storms.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, speaking of things falling out of the sky, did you see this eyeball?
How can you miss it?
This giant eyeball fell out of the sky, and it might be something else, but the initial reports, I saw this during the weekend, were giant eyeball falls out of the sky. I'm like, well, that is something I need to talk about. So we got this article in the New York Post.
Would you like to read it?
Let's read it. Yeah, I'm going to read it off my phone because I'm so blind still.
Okay. Well, we can just look at the picture.
But everyone can look along. Look at this thing, guys. could be a better eyeball. They could have done this better. But anyway, gigantic dome that looks like an eyeball falls from the sky and lands on Indiana Street during storm. They don't believe their eyes. Oh, New York Post. I almost skipped that line. But it's classic New York Post. Mm-hmm. It's like my favorite headline from the New York Post, and maybe in all headlines ever, is headless body found in topless bar. It's a real headline.
Attention grabbing.
Yeah, it's great. So anyway, an Indiana community was left baffled when a supposedly weatherproof radome, typically used to protect antennas, plummeted from the sky during extreme weather that tore through the Midwest Wednesday night. The dinged-up sphere that landed on a residential street blew away from a nearby property, neighbors told CBS 4. Radomes, I hope I'm saying that properly, are most commonly used to protect electrical systems during severe weather, namely antennas and radar systems, according to Radome Services, LLC. The dome, an achromatic nightmare straight out of a war movie, it says, was scuffed from the fall, and a side hatch was partially open. I think this is a cover story. A side hatch, guys, really? What left? What escaped this dome sphere eyeball and is now roaming around Indiana?
I mean, how heavy is this thing?
It's a great question. It reminds me of the Donnie Darko movie.
Yeah, I feel like if you just like twist open like the pupil eyeball piece right there, like 1,000 little mini eyeballs are going to come out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, where do they all go?
Yeah.
Now they're infesting this small town. This is like the beginning of the next season of Stranger Things. It kind of looks like an eyeball, CBS 4 news anchor Chelsea Helms said. An employee with V2X, an aerospace and defense company with a location in Indianapolis, roughly 1 mile away from the street, now dented by the dome, told CBS 4 Thursday that the radome was there. So case closed, guys. Mm-hmm. Or do we believe the official narrative? I don't know. This looks pretty weird to me. I've never seen one of these things before. Have you?
No.
It's ridiculous. It's like a helmet, for an alien. The employee, though, said that the company is also perplexed and has no idea how the radome blew all that way. See, that is weird. I wish it did say how much it weighed. I think it probably got turned over and caught in the wind, and unfortunately, it flew away. We're really thankful no one got hurt or anything. No one got injured, but that's what it is. I can confirm it, she says. It's not an alien satellite or an alien spaceship. Okay, Andrew Belush at V2X website. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I love that it says that the radome is supposed to be weatherproof.
Yeah, but
that doesn't
weather took it and moved it like safely on the street.
I just want something to come out of it.
It looks like something landed and did leave.
Yeah, it does kind of look like it's cracked a little bit here.
What left here? It goes on to say the radome in question was not in use and was set off to the side of the Indianapolis V2X building ahead of the storm. Okay. For the last year, it seems like the sky has consistently been falling. In late 2024, a drone disaster struck the tri-state area when inexplicable fleets were spotted around New Jersey for more than a month. How could you guys forget that? Remember our Christmas episode?
Yeah.
We went deep on the drones. Mm-hmm. That was weird. I then at the time was thinking it was us before that was the official narrative because you might remember that Joe Biden spent $2 million to shoot down a weather balloon. Or maybe it was actually just a balloon from Hobby Lobby that got away from some kids. And I'm like, okay, so that was a balloon we shot down, but we got all these drones invading New Jersey, and no one cares. They're like, if they're going after Snooki, it's fine. No one really cared. But my sisters are in Jersey, and they don't give a crap about any of the stuff we talk about.
That's so Jersey.
And they were like super freaked out because they never see planes or anything above their building, and these drones, they saw big truck-sized drones going over their building. I think that's part of a bigger plan, probably to desensitize us to what will become like a police state of drones coursing through the sky. I was talking to Sam Tripoli this weekend in Florida, and his theory is that it's like a Palantir, like soft launch of the surveillance state. And I think that there's something to that. It will be like that. Last Thursday, we talked about the story about the new SpaceX contract and all the new satellites they're sending up there. We're going to have like 100,000 new satellites in low Earth orbit. So imagine how that's going to start looking now with drones. So there's not just going to be police state drones. There's going to be Amazon drones. Every company's going to have drones. Probably DoorDash drones.
Oh.
Make your life real easy.
Yeah.
Imagine those crashes, though. It's going to get ugly. It goes on to say, in February, black tar balls suddenly washed ashore.
I'm sorry, say
Several
that again?
beaches. Black tar balls suddenly washed ashore. Several beaches in Florida, sparking concern. Can you click that hyperlink, actually? I don't remember that story at all.
Where are we here? Sorry, I wasn't
It's all
following
good.
along with
Somewhere towards the bottom there, when it's talking about after the drones. Yeah. What are those? No. I'll do the other one though. The black balls. You're gonna make me say it again.
Get out of here. That's why I did that.
Thanks, Alex. Welcome back to the studio, everybody.
Alex.
Alex is pranking me. Vacation destination closes beaches over gross tar balls as cause remains a mystery. Thought it was a sea creature, someone says. You know, this is in Florida. Mm-hmm. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Several Florida beaches closed Saturday. So when is this from? This is from February of this year. Several Florida beaches closed Saturday after mysterious tar balls washed up on the shoreline, and now the U.S. Coast Guard is investigating their source. Reports of the black oily globules. I can say that. I can't say any scientist name ever, but I got through that phrase. Spanned from Port Everglades to Palm Beach, leading the Coast Guard to send a plane and boat out from Miami and Fort Lauderdale to assess the situation, the agency said in a social media post. Yeah, I missed this story, but weird things, I won't go through the whole thing, but like weird things happen in Florida. And a lot of weird things have been washing up on, people catch a lot of crazy stuff washing up on the shore. I forget where it is, but I want to say it's in Canada, maybe on the West Coast, there's feet keep washing ashore.
Feet?
Have you seen that story? Just like severed feet. Yeah,
No.
keep washing ashore. Yeah, the oceans are weird. You should probably, real quick, even though you've told it before,
Yeah.
but since you're back and we're talking about things on the ocean,
TWA.
tell people what you saw. Just tell us that story.
Yeah, so TWA Flight 800, that's what it was, right? I can't remember anymore.
How could you forget?
That was 1996, I want to say, something
Probably
like
around
that.
there, yeah.
I was like 11 years old, and
Yep.
I was vacationing in Montauk, which, if you don't know Montauk, it's the end of Long Island. And that night, before we heard about the plane crash, my friend and I, we were just talking, and we were on the beach looking out into the ocean, and we both thought we saw ghosts or something. We thought we saw something in the ocean that just didn't look right. And the way I remember it, and I don't know if it's my memory just, makes things up, but it looked like ligaments or bones or something in the ocean. And we were like creeped out, totally creeped out.
They were like floating towards you, or
it wasn't floating. It was like totally far out in the distance, and it's like pitch black out.
Right.
Pitch black, and we both just saw like what we thought were like either ghosts or bones. Like that's how I remember it all these years later. And we went up to my mom's, my friend's mom, and we were just like, oh my God, we were totally panicked. And she said, well, I hate to tell you this now, but there was a plane crash just miles down from where we were. I mean, you could see the flashing light from where the plane crash was.
Right.
Of TWA Flight 800 that had crashed.
It's crazy.
96.
Crazy accident.
Crazy accident.
I remember that very clearly. Do you remember if it was like one of you guys saw something and were like, hey, what's that? Or did it happen together?
And like all these years later, I wondered if like, did we just overhear something and make something that was nothing? Or did we actually see something? And then like, strangely enough, there was this accident.
Maybe you accidentally remote viewed, considering where you were. Maybe there was some like residual like remote viewing powers left over, because remember when we had Richie McGinnis on?
Yeah.
When we did the whole Long Island episode, and out there is where they did those experiments. That's like where Stranger Things is. That story is based off of those experiments out there. I'm spacing on the name of those experiments.
Projects.
Yeah, I forget what it is.
We have parent brain.
Sorry, yeah. But they were doing that stuff out there. I'm sure someone listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. But maybe that's what you kind of
it was almost just
accident.
like the plane crash happened, and then the ghostly bodies just like floated by where we were, and we just happened to see it and didn't know anything about the plane crash until after the fact, and then it like kind of like clicked and made sense. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. So many years ago, who knows what we really saw, Well,
like we've said, there's something wrong with that place.
There is something wrong with Long Island.
You've heard, we've had callers call in from there, and they're like, no, there's definitely something wrong with that place. Mm-hmm. There's out there at the end is also where Plum Island is.
Plum Island,
near, and that's where they've also seen the Long Island monster wash ashore. Mm-hmm. That like gross like chimera thing that no one knew about. There might have been two actually.
That had like weird looking feet. Speaking of feet.
That's right. Yeah, so that's weird. The ocean's weird. Like
The ocean
something's
is
going on
weird,
down there.
and especially late at night. I don't know. It's just not.
And we have all these videos of like the Tic Tac UFOs flying out of the ocean. I think, other than Antarctica, the other answers are at the bottom of the ocean.
I know you think that.
That's real space. That's real space. That's where the things are happening. I think that's where they're building a lot of stuff we don't know about. We have underground cities, and we have some weird intergalactic thing, but it's beneath the ocean. But that's just my theory, guys. Tell me what you think. And for those who are just now joining us, welcome to the show. This is a call-in show. Phone lines are open. We will be here till 12 o'clock tonight. Link to call-in is pinned below in your chat on Rumble and YouTube, and it's audio only. Give us a call if you have something weird you want to talk about. Anything. There's no theme. We will take any strange story or a thought you might have. We'll be here till 12. And we'll get to phone calls in just a few. But let's look at that disc-shaped UFO that was also in the news recently. They're always filmed at a military base.
Yeah.
But let's watch. How long is this? Is it crazy long?
It's
We don't have to
7
watch the whole
minutes.
thing. But let's watch the part of it where they show us the disc-shaped UFO.
We've got some new UAP video from filmmaker and journalist Jeremy Corbell, who is standing by to break it all down. But first, here's a little bit of a closer look. This is a freeze frame. This is with some boosted contrast of what appears to be a disc-shaped object captured back in 2020, possibly somewhere over Afghanistan, Pakistan, the border there. Roll the video here. Jeremy says that this was filmed by some sort of DOD asset and forward-looking infrared shot from above looking down, and was, according to Corbell, the U.S. Air Force describing this object as possibly navigating through the clouds. There's no heat signature that you can see here. Nothing you would expect for a normal aircraft as it dips its way through. We're told the Pentagon logged it as a UAP, but so far it has not appeared on the Aero public list. That office tracking this stuff, whose official response to our request for comment was, quote, "We have nothing to offer." So Jeremy Corbell is the host of the podcast Weaponized. He joins us on set. Jeremy, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you, man.
All right, so getting into this, navigating through the clouds, like, I hate to even bring this up, but that sounds a lot like Jordan Peele wrote it in Nope, right? That's what we saw a little bit in Nope. What's going on here? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so for a couple years of investigating this footage, right, making sure it's authentic, where it came from, that was the running joke, was that it looks like the movie Nope. What we're seeing here that's different than ever before, you know that I've obtained and released with George Knapp thermal videos of UAP. Now, our government has admitted some of what we've put out. They've admitted their UAP. I'll tell you this, I'm not saying it. That was in the original footage. It says UAP navigating through clouds. They called it a disc. I'm not even calling it a disc, but what you're seeing is first shape. I have never seen in all UFO history, when it comes out of military, an actual circular form. It was amazing to me. The second is the movement. When you see it make an abrupt turn from your left to your right when you're watching it. And the third thing that really was astonishing to me, this is in thermal. There is no heat signature of traditional propulsion.
Right,
it is a perfect looking disc. Maybe it's an orb. I don't know, but
Alien? Are we looking
He
at
doesn't
aliens?
know. What do I know?
I just always feel like this is something the military's made that we don't know about. I'm not saying every UFO is that, but when it's always near a military base, I just feel like, a few weeks ago, we talked about how the Pentagon was caught doing this disinformation campaign about UFO and alien stories to cover up for secret tech they've been building. And I don't think they could stop doing that kind of thing. I think they probably do it all the time. But who knows? It is weird. But, what he's talking about, the thermonuclear stuff, they might have developed stuff that just defies all the things we have now. Who knows? We just saw like a pretty crazy this bombing in Iran with these planes flying undetected. Who knows what we have? I mean, I think we know what we used over there for that stuff, but they've certainly been working on these things for years.
It seems like there's just like a lot of things we just don't know. I mean, and even this guy, if this guy doesn't know, I mean, how are we going to know, right? He's like the ultimate.
Yeah, he's the UFO
guy. So if he's saying, he doesn't, he's never seen anything circular like that before. Does that seem weird to you?
But we've seen saucers. That's the OG UFO.
Yeah.
But that is like a perfect circle.
Yeah.
But anything's possible.
Could just be a spider in the lens.
It could be. Right. That's a lot of people were saying that last week about the orb. But it's weird, and I'm also interested in like what they were filming it with from above. One of those fun satellites we'd like to talk about, the spy ones. But I always find it interesting that they're near military bases. There's a ton of stories from people who don't see them around military bases. But it's like a lot of people saw those triangle-shaped UFOs that are almost like ubiquitous now with UFO sightings. You hear about those a lot, and we know the government's created those. We've seen this. You can go to militarytimes.com and look at those things. So I'd imagine they moved on to other shapes since the triangle. Now we're on to circles, and maybe we'll do squares. They've done tic tacs. Maybe a rhombus will be next. It should be fun. Parallelogram would be sick.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd use those words. Thank you for my 5th grade math teacher. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me that the UFOs have really ramped up. Like you notice that we've been talking about, there's so many UFO stories.
Yeah.
There's been some Bigfoot stories, but it's every day. And of course, I am looking for these things, so you're going to start seeing more of it. But you can look and see how these stories, they spike. And
the more we allow things in the sky like drones,
right.
The more we're going to see this stuff.
Of course. It's going to get wild. We're going to start seeing a lot more UFOs soon. And, NASA's been making a concerted effort to ask people to film the sky more often, turning the people into like a reverse police state to film what they think are UFOs. They did that press conference about a year ago, asking people to help them find things in the sky that they can't explain. So if Corbell and NASA needs, help explaining these things, who knows if we'll ever find out, if they'll ever tell us anything. They don't really trust us with information. And when they pretend to tell us information, it's usually a lie to cover up. But yeah, let me know what you guys think.
I know, with all these UFOs, how come we can't just catch one? Huh?
Maybe that should be our goal with this show. We're going to go out and we'll film live on the ground. I'll catch them. That could be a real problem.
Yeah.
I'll see I'll have to ask Tim about the insurance policy for, hey, can I go capture some UFOs real quick? It might be military tech, but I got to show the people what's going on up there. Yeah, that's what I'll have to talk to him about that later. Do we have any callers lined up yet?
We do, actually.
Let's go to callers. So again, if anyone's missed it, the phone lines are open. We will be here till midnight. Love to take as many callers as we can. No theme, any story you want to tell us, give us a call. It's audio only, and it is the link to call in is pinned in the chat below in both YouTube and Rumble. So let's get to our first caller of the night.
Okay, I got Lewis coming in.
Sick.
Let me change you to a man. Lewis, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going very well. How about yourselves?
It's going well. Thanks for calling in. You got a story for us?
I do. A bit of preface.
Okay.
I am from the foothills of Appalachia. I'm very familiar with things that, well, their names were forgotten before the Sumerians kind of existed. But this has nothing to do with Appalachia. That's just what I'm familiar with.
Awesome.
I had the opportunity to visit Scotland some 10 years ago and visited a place called Barony Castle. It has the largest topographical map of Scotland. It's actually really neat. But that's kind of a side interest that some people might find. The event that kind of comes to mind about that place was they have, I don't know if you're familiar with those whip-thin tree corridors that are often used for weddings.
I haven't seen them, no.
Well, I don't know what kind of trees they are, but they're maybe between your pinky and thumb diameter, and they make an arch.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll be right with you. Oh, okay, good. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
There is an altar at the end of this, but none of us knew this. At the time, it was myself, a pastor, and an evangelist, all just kind of exploring the Scottish countryside, and we visited Barony Castle. And we started walking down this corridor of trees. The feeling we got, the only thing that any of us could think to describe it was, I think it was the evangelist said, I feel like something bigger than my car is going to come from around one of those trees. Now, keep in mind, these things are as big as your finger. It's a completely nonsensical sensation that we all pretty well agreed on. We didn't find out till later that that altar was supposedly a site of human sacrifice for a very long time.
Wow.
But we didn't know. We had no idea about this when we were visiting. We didn't find this out until a few days later. But I guess that's the experience, the strange sensation without explanation that something bad is here.
Yeah, you picked up on like the crazy stuff that happened in that area. Do you know any of the history of the human sacrifice, like who was doing it?
Judging from the area is all I can do. I very intentionally, that's why I prefaced with Appalachia. If you hear something, no, you didn't. Very intentionally kind of didn't touch it after that. I was wondering now that that's pretty far behind me, if you all might have any idea what that might be about. This isn't Scotland, and it was supposedly a few thousand years old, that location.
Well, I wouldn't know like the history part, but I do know that feeling. I was talking about it last week about being at a place like a battlefield and just kind of picking up on the amount of blood spilt on a piece of land. Now, typically, if it's a battlefield, you go in knowing something horrible happened there, and maybe you're projecting that. But your situation is different because you did not know anything about the history, and as you're walking through, you're all feeling it, and like that sense of like, I mean, it sounds like dread the way the evangelist described it. But I feel like something bigger is about to like pop out, right? So you know, I do think the land holds something when something bad happens there. It's kind of how we talk about Long Island. It holds a lot of like weird, you know, trauma, and maybe it's possessed by something so dark as like human sacrifice is pretty damn dark. Yeah, but yeah, I would love to know, like, if now we know the castle name and stuff, it'd be something interesting to look into and see who it was doing it, who they were doing it to, how long it happened, all that stuff. You know, I'm sure there's history.
Yeah,
If they have a topographical map like that, you know.
I'd be fascinated to learn, because the information I got while I was there was just from the locals, and I very intentionally, well, especially while I was there, just didn't want to pry into anything.
Just because, like, you didn't want to. What was the apprehension?
Well, it's that Appalachian, don't ask questions about things. Don't answer your name in the night. Don't say its name after sunset.
So is that like
that kind of
Appalachian superstition?
Leave it alone. Yeah, that's a kind of general. Hey, don't, just don't.
Right.
You hear something? Don't go outside. Close the blinds. Don't worry about it.
Do you have experiences like that from Appalachia?
Most of them are very easily explained with wildlife, but there's everybody's got, you know, everyone was in the house, but somebody outside called my name.
Mm-hmm. Was there something?
Everybody's got one.
Is there something in that area that is there like any mythology or lore, like a cryptid or some kind of haunting that people were worried about?
In my particular area, I grew up very near the. This is a totally separate topic, mind you.
That's cool.
But I grew up on an adjacent property to the Colehep property, if you're familiar with that.
I'm not. Tell us.
He was, I forget what his first name was. I just know we call it the Colehep property. But he killed a bunch of folks and had people trapped in a shipping container, and there was some 30 bodies on his property.
Whoa.
But that's I grew up right next to that property, so there was a lot of that kind of thing.
That's dark.
As well as it just being like very specifically my area was all indentured servant and slave property, like where they were kind of, when that was done away with, you paid, that's where you guys can live. So there's just a whole lot of of negative and then positive and all that freedom that happened after all the negative. There's a whole lot of heavy emotion in the area, both in the past and in the more recent past.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So there's no real way of telling if something old latched on to something new or if it was something new. And again, don't ask questions about it. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard if you can't help it.
You ever come across any
You
ever come across any Appalachian witches?
One or two, and you can tell them.
Oh yeah,
You can tell
no,
them
they'll
from
tell
a
you.
good ways off.
Yeah, they're interesting. I've met a few. There's a big witch community in Appalachia because a lot of them were fleeing the witch like genocide in Europe when they were going after a lot of witches.
Oh yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you calling in.
I appreciate your time. I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a good one.
Too. Now I want to look into that castle.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Bohemian Grove.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Did you pull up the story he was talking about?
No, I was trying to find it and I couldn't.
Cohab? That's a crazy story.
Yeah, sorry.
To grow up next to that. No, it's all good. It's something I want to look into later. I'd never heard of that. Wow. Well, that's
it's weird
wild.
out there in Appalachia.
It is weird. It is weird. Oh boy.
I guess it's just a little weird everywhere, huh?
Yeah, but that place is particularly weird.
Yeah.
It's got a really interesting history, and it's so big. But yeah, like the Appalachian witches I met down in Georgia, they were interesting. They consider themselves Catholic and witches, and that was a weird conversation trying to figure out what that means. They had some justifications for it that didn't make a lot of sense to me, but they were legit witches doing like crazy witchcraft, doing blood magic on battlefields. Speaking of battlefields, right?
Yeah,
They went to the battlefield down there, a battle that happened during the Revolution on Valentine's Day, and a lot of people died there. It was one of the bloodier battles of the Revolution, and they like to go there on full moons to like charge their crystals. Yep.
How do you even do that?
I don't know. They like stood out there in the dark on the full moon, held their crystals into the sky.
I just think of The Craft.
It was probably
Earth,
very much.
You're like earth, air, fire, water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Do we have another caller?
Yeah, we have a few callers.
We have a few callers?
Should I bring one in?
Sick.
Let's just go ahead and say thank you to Timcast Raid for raiding Rumble. Anyone who's joining us now and like a show, subscribe to the show. Send us your money too, why don't you?
Yeah, well, we read super chats, we read Rumble rants, and yeah, please call in. We'll be here till 12. We'll try to get to everybody. If we don't get to everybody, we hope that you call back tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And yeah, let's get to the next caller.
All right, we got Kyle. Kyle, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. Just headed home.
Awesome. Well, we are glad you're here with us. What's going on? And tell us your story.
Man, I've called in before. I think you remember me. I
Sound familiar.
had the abduction story, and did I tell you the Wendigo story or no?
I feel like you mentioned it. I don't know if we talked about it though.
Okay, well then let's go over that one.
Let's.
Yeah, so around the same time of the winter, this was before my experience. Me and my buddy were out late at night. We had come home because we used to do Instacart and shop groceries for people on our days off. And it was one of our days off, but the next morning we had to be up and ready to go at 7 a.m. And we didn't have a plow at the time, so we had to shovel. So we got home at like maybe midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. And we had a nice driveway that like it had a pretty steep decline. So we're shoveling there out there at like I said, maybe midnight, 1, 2, whatever. And he gets down to where the light of the driveway is like, starting to fade away. And he gets down there and he's shoveling and we both hear something. So we both stop because we're thinking, oh, maybe it's a deer or some sort of bobcat or whatever. Cause we live right in the northeastern Appalachian Mountains. So he's like, what was that? I was like, I don't know, man. And then he's like, all right, whatever. He gets back to shoveling and he gets down towards the end of the driveway. And there's like one main road that he lives off of. And then behind us, it's a bunch of dark woods, and like it goes for miles and miles. So we're like, that's weird. This sound was coming from like towards the road, and then on the other side of the road, there's just straight river. There's nothing there. There's no other road. It's just a river. So we paused at that. We were like, what is this thing? Because at first it sounded like something was scurrying in the bushes, something small. And then when he got down to where he was almost to the mailbox, right to our right, which is a neighboring property that has a long dirt driveway. Somewhere in that dirt driveway, that scurrying noise happened again. And then we immediately felt something was off. Like both of us looked at each other. And then out of nowhere, there's just this sound of a deer call, like a very clear, but keep in mind, this is winter. So like no deers are going to be out at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, like immediate shivers down our spine. Like, what was that? And then like, it was a solid, maybe 10-second pause of us looking at each other. At this point, my buddy is in the dark. So he's looking up at me with his headlamp, like freaking out. I can see his face. To this day, it kind of makes me giggle a little bit. But obviously when I think about what happened after, I don't laugh so much. So this pause happens, we heard what would be a deer call, and this deep, long pause, 10 seconds probably. And then we hear what would be like a traditional fisher cat after it's caught something, where like, they make that guttural scream.
I haven't heard one.
Can you make it for us now?
I was going to ask if you want to try it on the phone.
I'm not going to do it for you, but yeah, they make this weird call. You can look up fisher calls. They sound weird.
Okay.
Like I've heard them before. I grew up in the woods, so like I know I can kind of pick up noises and figure out what they might approximate, right?
For sure.
So the fact that we heard a deer call and then 10 seconds of dead silence, nothing, like just dead silence, right? And then this fisher cat call, and at this point, my buddy is like he was more of a town kid growing up, so he didn't have like fisher cats or anything around his property like I did. And he starts scrambling up, and I'm laughing because at this point I'm like, oh, a fisher probably just killed something, right? And he's scrambling up, running towards the house. I'm getting my gun, bro. So he runs in the house to grab his gun, and the second he gets to the door, before he can even put his hand on it, at this point I'm like almost bawling laughing. He puts his hand on the door. And as soon as he does that, we hear, I'm not even kidding you, a mimic of his voice that, because he was like I said, we were both talking to each other the whole time. We hear a weird mimic of his voice from that same spot. Oof. But it was like bone chilling and like so, it sounded so wrong. I don't know how to put it. It was so bad. And that's so crazy. At that point, I turned around too, and I booked it in the house. He grabbed his guns. We became Macho Man because his girlfriend's inside, and she had heard something, so she's now freaking out. And my buddy is like, I'm getting the gun. I'm going out there. I'm going to see if it's a deer or fish or whatever. I'm going to kill it.
A deer or a fish.
Right? Like, I'm like, dude, it's middle of winter. You're out of season, number one. Number two, like, he had a 9mm. And now that I look back on, and I've done my research on what Wendigos were and stuff, we probably would have gotten killed if it wanted to. Like, we ran out to where we heard the sound, and by that time, tracks, but it was pure, like, white, powdery snow that night. So, like, by the time we woke up in the morning to reinvestigate, all of the tracks were gone. You know what I mean? They had all been covered up by the freshly fallen snow.
Right.
But I thought it was totally creepy how this thing was like, whatever it was able to mimic other animals perfectly. But then when it came to like a human sound, it sounded like my buddy, but like if he had the worst smoker's cough of all time.
Wow. Were you thinking Wendigo as it was happening, or is that something that came to you afterwards?
No, it came to us afterwards. Funny, we were like thinking about what it could be, right? And I kept bringing up, oh, it's probably a fisher caught something and killed it, and then that's what did it. But the fact that it literally, I don't even like think about what it said, but it was like some form of like a screwed up help me cry of like someone's hurt in the woods. But it was like his voice in a weird way, if that makes sense.
Right. Like it didn't say words, but it sounded like him yelling or something.
It just sounded like a call for help, like just someone's saying help or help me. But it was like, it wasn't, you know, you couldn't really make out the words. It was like guttural and weird and just unsettling.
That's crazy.
I don't like that.
When you were telling us a story and there's that moment where you said something felt like it was off. Like, can you describe that?
Oh man, you just know. You immediately. I think it's built into us as humans. We know when there's something we shouldn't be around, or
Right.
you know, something feels off. It was just chills up and down both of our spines.
And you just both knew.
But yeah, like I said, we didn't learn about the Wendigo until he bought like a PlayStation 5 later that year, and we picked up PlayStation Plus, and it had a game called Until Dawn, and we're both like horror heads, so we're like, yes, we're gonna look into this.
Right.
And we played that, and we're like, dang, maybe that was the thing that was stalking us.
Right. What did you think about before you knew about the Wendigo? Like, how are you rationalizing it?
In my head, I was like, well, the first, like I said, it called like a deer. So I was like, oh, there's a doe or a buck out there calling for, you know, their partner or whatever. But then there was immediately following that 10 seconds of the most dead silence like ever. And it was, you know, it was midnight. So there's not a lot of noise going on, but like, it was just an eerie silence. That's all I can describe it as. And
then were you thinking like anything else though? Like in that time before you knew about the Wendigo, thinking like, hey, this is this or that?
Oh, we both knew something was wrong after that 10 seconds of silence, then the Fisher call, another 10 seconds of silence. Once you hit that second 10 seconds of silence, all bets are off, dude. We're like, we're getting out of here. We're going back in the house. We don't know what's going on.
Has anyone else in the neighborhood had a similar experience?
No, not that I know of, but he was never really like friendly with his neighbors. They were kind of like their own little posse, I guess. They were far enough away to where nobody really bothered each other.
Remind us where this was again.
Wanted to hang out.
Yeah, where was this? Can you say?
This was in, like I told you, the famous triangle. I don't want to dox or anything.
Oh, yeah. No,
basically, if you know where Maine and New Hampshire meet, it's somewhere along that border.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy. And like I said, we didn't know what it was until we started playing that game, and then things started to fall into place. And we're like, maybe these Native Americans knew something, dude, because I just can't describe the feeling it made. It was just, it was terrible.
Well, glad you survived, and thank you for calling in.
Yeah,
man. We appreciate the call back.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
It was fun to share the story with you.
Yeah, it was great.
Have a great night, Kyle.
I just went to the Wendigo Wikipedia page. For those who don't know, and just read a little bit off of it, because Wikipedia is the trusted source for mythological creatures, or it's an evil spirit. It says, originating from the Algonquin folklore, the concept of the Wendigo has been widely used in literature and other works. The Wendigo is often said to be a malevolent spirit, sometimes depicted as a creature with human-like characteristics who may possess human beings. It is said to cause its victims a feeling of insatiable hunger, the desire to eat other humans, and the propensity. Wait, wasn't he buying groceries? That was his day off for buying groceries? Maybe the Wendigos just wanted his groceries.
Yeah.
It is said to cause its victims a feeling of insatiable hunger. Okay. And a desire to eat other humans, and the propensity to commit murder. In some representations, the Wendigo is described as a giant humanoid with a heart of ice, whose approach is signaled by a foul stench or sudden, unseasonable chill. But it was cold.
Here's some pictures for you.
Oh yeah, look at this thing.
They're probably AI generated, but
yeah. But yeah,
there you go.
That's
the Wendigo.
You don't want to see that thing.
I mean, it does look like a deer, something.
Look at its hands. I feel like this would exist in that Maine, New Hampshire border, if anyone is familiar with that area.
People in the chat were saying it's probably a fox, and now I can't. All I'm thinking of it is like, what does a fox say?
Great song.
Yeah.
Foxes make crazy sounds. If you've never heard a fox scream, you should look it up. I won't do it for you on the show, but they make crazy sounds. I just fox-proofed my chicken coop today, like I was telling you about earlier, because we had a little bit of a mishap. I didn't fox-proof it enough. And now the sound that chicken made as the fox came under the crate was not cool. Not cool. But now it's like what I did, you see, is I just took severed fox heads and lined them all around the coop. So it's just like to ward off.
Where did you get
No, I'm
fox
just kidding.
heads?
I'm just kidding. I use
One of those
like
weird West Virginia stores.
Yeah, I consulted a witch. No, I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got some like what do they call it? Hardware cloth and made a sweet little netting around it. There's probably other ways to do it, but
You didn't lose all your chickens, did you?
we lost a few. It was horrible. The kids were not happy. I should have seen that coming. I thought I did a good enough job, but I messed that up. I'm a first-time chicken owner. Classic mistake. But maybe that fox is hungry. That's what I like to tell myself. But a fox scream is insane. It sounds like a witch. Like you'd
Yeah.
imagine like a banshee. They're very loud.
I was gonna look up the Fisher cat sound.
Yeah, we should try that. We just make sure the volume's low so we don't
Scare everybody.
freaking scare everybody. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll pull this up. We did get a couple super chats.
Oh, cool.
From Enlightened Fool. Let's go. Frog face, frog face, frog face.
Sick.
And
Thank you.
Also from Richard Clement, Richard C. We'll call you. Just shared some money with us. So I
you.
just want to say thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
And oh no, this won't let me. Fisher Cat, let's see.
Yeah, so we're so grateful to everyone who's been tuning in. It's been incredible. It's our 4th week now, I guess, with the new schedule. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been amazing. So much fun. The call, you guys are great. We'll get to you guys in just a few. All right, we got the volume down. Guys, watch
I
out.
can't promise what it sounds like.
Watch out.
That wasn't bad.
That's not good. Okay, but at night though, that's weird. But if you know what that thing is, you know.
Yeah.
If you know the woods, you're accustomed to the sounds they make.
Okay, I guess that's what it is.
So it was doing that, and then it was mimicking his friend's voice. That part is creepy.
Yeah, I
Maybe it
don't
was
like
a neighbor, or maybe it was a spirit trying to possess them. But we're glad they made it out. Let's go to the next caller.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, we got a bunch. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Oh, I wish I knew what order everyone came on. Okay. Gian Gordon.
I know Gian.
Gian.
Hello. He does.
What's up, Gian?
I mean, I called in on episode 60 and 62, so I don't mind waiting until tomorrow to call back,
Okay,
if you
yeah.
wanna get
If you
other
don't mind,
people.
since there's a bunch of people here,
Yeah, for
I'd
sure.
appreciate if you don't mind, and we will definitely get to you. It's always fun talking, but
Cool.
we'll get to them and hang around or call back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
listening.
you. Aw,
Thanks, man.
That was sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
John. Very nice of you, John. You want to make sure
sorry.
you get to new people.
you
Alex
know-
hasn't been here. She doesn't know. It's all good.
Shout out to Brandon Miner. I know he can't be here tonight or tomorrow, but he will be back. Just sitting in for now. Let's see. Ring. We got Ring coming in. Appropriate. Ring, are you with us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Well, I'm okay. I'm doing well.
Awesome. What do you got for us?
Just caught you on IRL tonight. That was a good episode.
That was a fun one. Thank you.
Yep. I haven't heard anyone talk about missing time yet on Inverted World, so I kind of figured I'd bring you my missing time story.
Incredible.
Love
yeah.
that.
Love to hear it.
All right. I was in a city in Vermont. It's called Rutland. I'm heading north on Route 7. And I'm walking. And it was about 9 o'clock at night. And I'm walking to my house. It's a straight shot. And I look down, blink my eyes, open my eyes, and I'm completely disoriented. I am no longer in the city. I don't know where I am. I know I'm still like somewhere in Vermont, but I don't know if I'm south or north or east or west. I'm completely disoriented as far as my direction is concerned. I'm panicking, running out on the road, trying to wave at cars, trying to get somebody to stop. Nobody is stopping. I don't know what time it is. This is about 20 years ago. I didn't have a cell phone on me. There was no pull out my GPS and figure it out solution.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I'm out in the woods somewhere now. I start like running down the road, and I don't know what road I'm on. And I spot this house, and I go up and I start banging on the door, banging on the windows, trying to get like help, because I was full on panic, lost. And then, no, they didn't come to the door, but they were, I saw some lights come on, and I kind of figured I was scaring them, like some, weird Clockwork Orange, help me, my car broke down kind of situation.
Right.
Go away, stranger weirdo, just be gone. So I went back out to the road, and then state police finally shows up. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I'm lost. I don't know what's going on. and it's 3 in the morning. And I am 15 miles north of Rutland. And it happened in a moment. It was like blinking my eyes, and 7 hours disappeared, and I'm 15 miles away.
That's crazy. Did well, I got lots of questions.
Okay.
You know, I got to ask because the chat's gonna say, "Oh, was he on anything? Was he drinking? Was he taking anything?"
No drugs, no alcohol. I was just walking from my friend's house home.
Okay, walking from your friend's house home. It's 9 p.m. You look down, you blink, you're in a new place.
The last thing I remember is seeing my feet on the sidewalk, blinking my eyes, and then all the time disappeared, and I was in another place.
And yeah, so you're in a whole new place when you, like, we'll say wake up, right? And you realize, okay, what do you think happened? Do you have any like feeling as to what happened?
I teleported through time and space. I don't know. Like it's really it's a mystery to me. I don't have an explanation.
Did you happen to check yourself for any weird markings?
I didn't, but I don't recall there being any.
Yeah. Because it sounds like that one story.
Like that. I was so scared. I was basically on the verge of, like crying when this cop came. I'm like, thank you so much. But I mean, it was, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't find any weird markings or anything like that on me, but I was right on Route 7 in Rutland. Like this was not a, I don't know how I would have. It's very strange.
No, that's very strange. It does. There are abduction stories. That's why I asked about the markings. Like people don't understand how they wound up somewhere else. I mean, there's that one guy who was gone for days. He said he woke up in another town. You had all your clothes on you. Everything that you had was with you when you were in the new place.
Yes, everything I had was with me. I wasn't missing anything. Still had my shoes, all that stuff. And I don't have any. I remember with that story. Fire in the Sky, like he had memories of like being with the other entities and stuff like that. This was like snapping your fingers. It was that fast.
Did you ever go back to that location where you time skipped?
Yes, I have. I actually, last time I was in Vermont, I made it a point to drive up Route 7 to find the house that I banged on the window.
Ooh.
Because I wasn't exactly sure how far I had traveled.
Right.
And then like riding, like I went through another town. There's like the next town north of Rutland is Pittsford, and that's like about 9 miles away. And I was past that town on my way to the next one.
That's crazy. So what was the house like? Was it how you remembered it?
Yes. Yep. It was, I was able to identify it because I remember walking down the driveway to the house. It was the same distance from the road. I was certain, 100% certain it was the right house.
You know what it reminds me of? This is a movie that kind of haunted me as a kid. Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah.
When the kid falls down the like embankment in the woods and he wakes up and it's like, maybe like 20 years has passed or 10 years has passed and he's got the spaceship and stuff. It always bothered me that could happen. That's wild. So how did it go with the cops?
He like was doing sobriety checks on me. He gave me a ride home. He, ran me for warrants and all that kind of stuff. And I was, not wanted. I was not inebriated. I was tried to explain to him, like, I have no clue how I got here. And he wasn't hearing it. Like he just didn't want to entertain it. He just kind of got me in his car and brought me to my house, dumped me and drove away.
Did you approach him and say that immediately? Like, how do you say that to a cop? Is that like the first thing you say, or do you wait?
Yeah, I was like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I north. I didn't know if I was north or south of Rutland. I didn't know where I was. So I was just trying to explain to him, like, I need help. I remember, like, I seriously need help. Thank you.
That's scary. I mean, who knows what happened, but to feel like you've lost time and you don't know how you got to a certain place.
Do you remember how much time was lost?
He said 7 hours, right?
It was 7 hours?
That's a long time.
Could you have, like, someone had asked in the chat if you were, like, spiked.
See,
is that possible?
Maybe. I would guess that would be a possibility. Like, maybe I was unwittingly drugged is a possibility. But Route 7 is a very busy road. And in some places, there are not a lot of shoulder. I don't understand how I would have like been safe walking that distance, you know, on the shoulder of a road through another smaller town and not have any recollection of it at all. It would be drugs that I've never. I don't know what would do that to you, honestly.
When you were there, kind of like reliving those steps, did anything else come back at all, or is it just exactly how you remembered it, and like nothing else looked familiar to you?
Nothing has ever come back,
Man.
as far as that experience is concerned. I don't know. No, it was the only thing I can say is it happened in an instant.
That's really wild.
I was walking. I saw my feet on the sidewalk. I picked my head back up. 7 hours had gone by and I was lost.
It's funny that I started the show saying I teleported, and here you are saying you might have teleported. You know, what do you like? Did you ever look up weird history about that area?
I don't know much about weird history of Rutland or Pittsford or Brandon. I know there was one Revolutionary War battle there. There's Fort Ticonderoga's kind of in the area. Stomping ground of Ethan Allen, Green Mountain Boys. I know there was a lot of Indian tribes in the area, of course.
Right. There are people who believe they can open portals or can go access portals. And I forget if it's the Mystery School or Mystery College, but I spoke to a woman in the first Inverted World book. You probably remember this, Alex. That lady who said she went to that portal and it was like they opened it up and that beast dog came through and they released it into the wild.
Was it in Rutland?
No, I don't remember where it was.
I do remember you telling that story.
Right,
Yeah, I remember
but like,
that story.
People believe that. And, you know, I know I always say this, but I don't care. I love this show. Twin Peaks also has a very similar situation. You know, the way you enter the Black Lodge, you're walking through the woods, and then like this weird curtain appears, and then you're all of a sudden in this other place. And I feel like when you're there, you've been missing time, and you come back. In that case, older, and you've lost time, but you know you've been somewhere. I just say that because there's a really interesting book that the other writer for Twin Peaks wrote, not David Lynch, and it goes into a lot of those stories, like things that happen in the woods, old native mythology, portals, owls, stuff like that, monsters, and you know, these are stories that they tell. You know, especially like a lot of old Indian tribes have weird stuff that they experience in the woods. So I don't know, man. That is really wild. I wish I had some explanation for you, but that is it's pretty chilling, whatever it is, that you just lost that much time. 7 hours is a long time to not know.
Right. To just be walking on the side of a busy road with a narrow shoulder and somehow make it there without getting clipped by a car or, you know, somebody stopping me and asking me if I'm okay or any, you know, it's. Were
you dirty? Like, do you remember like getting home and being like, wow, there's like dirt or mud on my shoes, or my clothes are dirtier than I remember?
Nothing like that at all. It's like I didn't walk it, man. Right. I didn't feel like I walked it. It didn't look like I walked it. It was.
Did you tell family afterwards?
No, I had a girlfriend at the time. I tried to explain it to her. She didn't believe me. She thought I was up to something else, you know, and just, oh, you just got dropped off by the cops. So what was that all about? You know,
I went through a wormhole, honey. This happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Goodness. You'll never believe this one.
Yeah.
I just teleported through space and time.
You were cheating. Who was she? Like, no, I literally slipped through space time. I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry. It would be a problem if that became like your default defense of why you're not missing. Right. Sorry, honey, but no, that is certainly wild, dude. If anything ever comes back to you, I'd love to hear more about this. That's a crazy story. Or if it happens again, I hope it doesn't.
Next time it happens, I'll give you a call. Sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you telling us that story.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Night.
Shane, have a good one.
You too. That's wild.
Yeah.
I've been missing time lately. That's just because I have young kids.
Oh, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Time, memory, it's just gone.
We're slipping through portals every day.
You're like, do you remember that story? I was like, what story?
That was a year ago. I thought that was yesterday. My goodness.
No, but you know what? Not really connected at all. But when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, I woke up in a completely different room.
Well, they
Like,
put you on where they put you on.
I know.
That's another way to
obviously.
time travel.
But I mean, it's when you wake up in a different room than where you started.
Oh, yeah.
That is just, it fucks with your
It's
mind.
very, very strange.
Yeah.
I've had, unfortunately, lots of surgeries from breaking bones a lot in my life from different things. And I'm always, I wake up during surgery, no matter what they put me in. From a young age to when I was older, like in college. With
That is a great
broken
fear.
knees. It is a terrifying thing. I remember when I broke my arm, my left arm, and when I was doing some like biking, it was a horrible, horrible break. And like the bones were all like, sticking out of my skin. And I had to walk about half a mile to my parents' house. And I was in surgery for 6 hours, and I woke up. The doctor was like, "You were in surgery for 6 hours because you kept waking up and punching me with your broken arm."
Oh my God. Do you remember doing that?
Slightly,
while it
yeah.
happened?
Like a vague memories of waking up. Every surgery.
That is so
Wisdom
disturbing.
teeth, with my knees when they were messed up, all this stuff. I had these like vague, like weird, hazy memories. Like it's not very clear, but I remember waking up. And like at a certain point, I'd be like, "Just so you know, I'm going to be waking up throughout this."
Anesthesia just doesn't stick for
It does
you.
something. It's just, it's not, it's not, I don't know, never enough, but.
Oh boy. I do want to say we have the super chat from Richard. He said, "How do you all call in? I had an interesting experience. I thought you might like to hear about it. If y'all are not ready, booked up. If you are, no worries. Thank you." Just a reminder that we do pin the link to the chat in YouTube and Rumble, so click on that.
Yep.
Come join us in the waiting room. We have a bunch of people tonight, so if you can't join us tonight, join us tomorrow. Keep sending your money. Subscribe to the show. Okay.
We will read it. We love to hear from you. So yeah, we got some, let's do it.
Okay.
Next caller.
We got up,
Incredible. Up.
and away. Are you with
All right.
us?
Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. What's up, man?
Chilling, man. How are you?
I'm good. I want to share my story, man.
I'd love to hear it.
Invalidate your left brake, which is not.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
is this?
There's something going on in the background though. You got some voice down there.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver. I'm just shutting my truck off.
Awesome. I love when
Okay,
truck
I'm here.
drivers call. Awesome.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
All right, man. It's a kind of a similar story to the last guy. I was sitting with my girlfriend in our car right outside my house, and we lived pretty close to a pretty significant military base.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty rainy, foggy night. I live right on the water in New Jersey, and it's like, pretty similar. My neighbor had come out, and we were remarking on a crazy lightning that was going on, and he had asked me for a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
He was still in high school, maybe a senior. I was maybe 2 years out of high school, 3 years out of high school. I had a girlfriend full time. And, we're sitting there. He came out and asked me for a cigarette. And I said, sure, here's a cigarette. We're talking. We're looking at the lightning. It was pretty cool. So, a few minutes goes by, and he's coming back out for a cigarette. I say, hey, man, you just asked me for a cigarette. He goes, dude, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I said, what? I was like, you were just out here. He's like, yeah, it was 9 o'clock, man. My
Whoa.
girlfriend's looking at me like, what? There's no way. And this is two people, not one. It's not just my recount. It's both of ours, which was insane. So I get up, and now I'm looking. The sun's coming up. I'm looking east over the water. The sun's coming up. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. This was insane.
Whoa.
All right. I have no, like, this time was totally missing. And I'm a spook, man. I freak out easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this is me and my girlfriend. We're both looking at each other like, what? We're missing like 7 hours. We didn't move. We didn't piss. We didn't go out. We didn't smoke cigarettes. It was like a couple minutes passed, gone.
Okay,
Totally crazy.
So
you-
another one missing
I know-
time here. Huh?
You both
Go ahead.
both experienced missing time.
Both of us. And we both remember it to this day perfectly as it happened, exactly how it happened.
So I'm going to ask you some of the same questions I asked the last caller because I know everyone in the chat's going to ask. You know it. Was there any
No, it
drinking?
wasn't on drugs.
No drinking?
No drinking, no drugs.
And did you, at the time when you realized? I mean, no one ever thinks this, but like, did you think to like look over yourself? Were your clothes? Was your appearance different?
Listen, my father and I, we're both real heavy into UAPs, UFOs.
Okay.
We're both heavy into spirits and stuff like that.
All right.
I'm a super spook, man. Like, I'm super observant to everything. This missing time thing just this guy just took my story. I was kind of a little peeved, but I'm like, you know what? My
perfect.
story is pretty cool too. But
Oh, this is great. I love it that you both
it's
called
crazy.
back to back.
I'm right over a huge military base, with some crazy heat lightning, just swirls, like little shoots and swirls. I've never seen lightning like this in my life. That's what kind of made it remarkable, because we were all looking at this crazy lightning going on over the swamp and over the water. And then the kid came back out. It was felt like 15 minutes, and it was almost 7 hours, 8 hours later, man. No joke. It was insane.
So you referenced the military base. Are you hinting at maybe you think they were doing something there?
I don't know, but I lived really close to it my whole life, and I've seen. I have footage that I sent MUFON. I've taken orb photos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the military base in New Jersey. It's Earl Ammunition Pier.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I'm right there off Sandy Hook. I grew up on that beach. You know what I mean? So I'm always looking out over the water, looking at the planes circle Kennedy. And and Newark, that's their circling pattern. So you always see planes, but you don't see shit that shoots off into gone around the moon.
Right.
I reported that shit to MUFON, and I gave the guy the footage. The guy came right to my house the next day. The dude from MUFON, which was crazy.
Yeah.
He came right to my house, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a story for another time.
They're like the Men in Black.
But yeah,
privatized.
Well, yeah, yeah, bro. But you know what? They try to recruit me, man. I thought that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I think it was like the second iPhone 5. So whenever that came out, because he was like, "Hey, man, can I have your phone?" I'm like, "No, can I have my phone, but I'll upload it to you. You know what I mean? I'll send it to you." But yeah, hilarious. He was pretty cool, man.
Wow.
I don't know. This missing time thing was a big deal. This made me jump on here.
Did you?
But I definitely wanted to share, man. I got a couple more crazy stories to tell, but I'll give someone else a chance.
Well, I'm just curious, what do you make of it? Do you have any when you guys talk about it?
My personal hypothesis,
yeah,
is that we were most likely abducted by something.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a skeptic to think anything else, man. I know it sounds contradicting, but.
Mm-hmm.
For both of us to have no recollection of almost 8 hours, man, 8-9 hours of just sitting there. It was like 9:30 at night, and now it's 7:30. This kid's going to school in the morning, waiting for the bus for another cigarette, and it was like a 15-minute time span. Like, we didn't even get out of the car to pee or nothing. You know what I mean? And I'm with my girlfriend. She pees like every 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm like, we didn't even move out of the car. We're sitting in the car, having to smoke bullshit, and now it's 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it was, is just gone.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And I've talked to my father about this. I talked to other people about this. You know what I mean? And guys like, exactly like, what the chat would say. Like, what are you on, man?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not on anything. I was sober. You know what I mean? Like, stone sober. I was a kid still.
Yeah, the fact that
I think cigarettes was the only drug I did, man.
Right.
At the time.
Yeah, the fact that two of you experienced it is super weird. And both of you together immediately were bugged out.
Both of us account the same exact account. I can probably have her call you and give you the same account, maybe with better details. But the lightning was the key thing. I've never seen lightning like that in my life. It was like swirling over the swamp. Everyone's like, "Oh, swamp gas and this and that," and people try to explain it away.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm too smart for that, man. I'm too smart for that. This is like something I've never seen before. And then all of a sudden, we're just missing a whole block of time with nothing else going on. Nobody came and said, "Hey, why are you sitting out here for so long?" My parents didn't come out. You know what I mean? Usually my parents would have came out at like midnight and be like, "Hey, man, come on in. You got school," or, or whatever. Like, "What are you guys sitting out in the car for? Why don't you come in the house?"
Right.
There was no explanation for that time missing. My parents didn't even notice I was gone, which was crazy. You know what I mean? I was just sitting in the driveway, sitting in the car. I had a little Volkswagen Golf or something. We were just sitting there, just looking out over the water, because I lived on the beach, like literally on the beach.
Right.
So It was insane, man. I wish we had better technology then,
right.
to take pictures of that lightning. The MUFON experience was a little later on, but still, I have crazy stories about that place, man.
Well,
I've seen some shit, man, and I will call back.
Yeah, I would love for you to call back. That'd be great. Imagine if you had like a Ring camera back then that was on the car.
Oh my God, man! Right, and just to see the timestamp go.
Right.
Like, what would we see? Just us sitting there still?
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have happened.
Right. Maybe Maybe, or it would just cut out. You know, the feed would cut out. Or like,
Right.
there's a
And
weird
you know
light.
what? I was just on like Super Grok talking about superposition with the AI.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was looking over that Jeremy Corbell footage about that UAP because I got my own footage of an orb that moved just like that thing, man.
Okay, well,
Was it a
I'll call you back.
triangle or?
yeah. No, you got to
Unless you
call
want
us.
to get into it.
You got to call us back for sure. I want to make sure we get to the other callers who have been waiting. But
Yeah,
please,
absolutely. Thank you guys for having me, man. I would love to. I'm sorry, I'm a little excited. My
No.
first time calling in. I love the show.
Oh, thank you
guys
so
kick
much.
ass, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
that was
calling in.
amazing. Thank you, man. I hope we hear from you
Absolutely.
soon.
Cool. What are the odds of that? Right?
Shout out to the truckers out there. Keep this country alive. Like, they're the best.
Amazing.
They are keeping it going out there. I love the truckers, and they're like, they got their best stories. I bet he's got some crazy stories from being a trucker too. So yeah, shout out to him. But let's keep going.
We got not a super chat. What are they called on Rumble?
Rumble rant.
Rumble rant.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is for me. $10, Mrs. I've recently got braces installed at 35. Any advice? This shit sucks. I'm a month in. Yeah, I'm a few months in, and I'm 40, and it sucks. I don't know what else to tell you. Good luck to the both of us. Let's move on. And thanks for calling it out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
That's
hide
all
it
right.
over here.
No, you're doing great.
Okay, here we go.
I had braces for like 6 years.
The worst. Danny, are you with us?
It sucks. I don't know what else to tell you. Good luck to the both of us.
Oh, that's you in the
Oh,
background.
that's
now.
me in the background.
Hey there, if you could turn down the feed in the back, that would be amazing.
Danny, are you with us?
Danny, are you with us?
Oh, that's creepy.
I don't know what else to tell you. Good luck to the
All right,
both of us.
Okay,
Danny, if you're
all
not
right.
there, we will come back to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna move.
It was a
move
Wendigo
Danny.
actually mimicking us.
Okay. I wish I knew the order everyone came in. I'm sorry if I'm just pulling in random. John Black. Are you with us, John Black?
I am indeed with you guys. How are you doing, Miss Alex?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Shane?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. How's Bro Grove?
Incredible. So much fun. So much laughing. Love all those guys. We had a great time.
Yeah. I won't keep you too long. With the weird synchronicities, the first caller had a story about an experience in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also referenced being from Appalachia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was pretty evasive about the things in Appalachia because there's a lot of stuff down here that we know about that we just don't talk about. And little known fact is that the same mountain range that is Appalachia is also the same mountain range that is in Scotland.
Interesting. Like in terms of name, or like
No.
geographically.
Like the actual mountain. Like if you look
Interesting.
at Pangea and how it all separated, there are parts of the Appalachian Mountains that run down the eastern part of the Americas towards the south end of it, and then in Scotland, and then some in Africa. And then he talked about the things that we don't talk about. And then the other guy from Appalachia was talking about, hearing different sounds and things like that. And I used to be a smoker. So I spent a lot of time outside. I miss smoking.
Yeah, I hear you.
So we lived in a holler, so I got really good at pinpointing, what noise came from where, what was each noise, what was it, and my daughter would come out here and be like, "Come here, there's a tree frog in this tree right there, and then there's an owl over there," and then we get the spotlight and shine it, and I'd show her, where it was at and all that. But when you don't hear anything, you go inside.
Because Because things have been they've become quiet for a reason.
Because they become quiet for a reason. So, but I've called and talked to you before, so I'll give somebody else a chance to call in. But at some point, we do need to talk about the fair folk or fairies.
Okay. Yes. Well, we would love to hear about that.
Because that is a subject that doesn't get talked about a lot, but that is old as old can be.
Yeah.
So,
well, you are welcome to call back anytime and let us know about that. That is something we don't talk about at all on here. So you'd probably be the first caller to do it.
Yeah. At some point, I'll call back and I'll let you guys know about the fair folk.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right. You guys have a good rest of your night.
You too. Bye. That'll be nice.
Fair folk.
The
It's reminding me of the movie. What movie is that?
Fern Gully.
No.
The Fae are in True
I'll
Blood.
think about it and get back to you.
Yeah.
You know how the brain works. Okay.
Alex's brain went through a portal.
It's gone.
As has mine. I took a portal to get to Florida.
Okay, let's try Danny again. Danny, are you with us?
Oh, I just hear us in the background. It's kind of creepy. Danny, are you there? Danny, should we send someone to get you?
Hello?
Hey.
There we go.
What's up?
I think so.
If you can hear us.
Can you hear?
Yes, yes. We are ready for you to tell us a story.
Oh, no, they're trying to do it, but they can't hear me.
Yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Maybe your volume's down. We can hear you. We are here. We can hear you. And if you can hear us, we can listen to your story.
Hello?
Oh, man.
We are ready for you to tell us a story.
Oh, no.
So he can hear us on the stream, but not. I don't know. It must be something on Zoom.
Okay. Putting you in the waiting room. Bye. Okay. Jordy, only because my son is Jordan.
Well,
Jordy.
I feel like next time with Danny will be better because that was like better
Three
than
times
the
the
first
charm.
time, and the third time will be better. Sorry, Danny.
Jordy, are you with us? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yay.
What's up? How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. I had a fun experience with my okay. So this also has to do with time, but instead of time missing, more like time stopping.
Okay, let's hear it.
So my husband and I were on the couch and we had just watched our show right before bed. And I checked my phone and I'm like, hey, it's 10:17. We really need to get to bed. And he looks at his phone, which is in military time, and he's like, oh yeah, it is. It's 22:17. And he said it aloud, and so did I. Well, we started talking. We had this really deep conversation about how we felt like we didn't have enough time to achieve our goals in life. And it was like a really deep conversation about like living up to our potential and wanting to make sure that we did the most with the time that we have. And this conversation lasted forever. We went into the kitchen, we made ourselves tea, we waited for the tea to cool off, and then we drank the tea, and then we went to our bedroom and we started getting ready for bed, getting in our PJs and stuff. And this conversation's just going the whole time. And we had climbed into bed and I'm like, you know what? I bet it's like past midnight at this point because we've been to. Okay, what's the important part?
That random verse that you flipped open the Bible and found, and it was talking about like how God is patient and give yourself time. And then you looked at your phone to check the time, and it was still 10:17.
Yeah,
that was unnerving.
Very unnerving. We had no idea how time had not gone by, and it blew both of our minds, and we had a really hard time sleeping that night.
Yeah, I felt like the clocks got adjusted randomly or something. It was like there had to be like some sort of like clock adjustment or something was wrong. It's like, no, microwave, stove, everything still says the same time. Like I just looked at that.
Not daylight
And,
savings.
yeah, I was just going to say, Chad is going to say it was daylight savings and you forgot.
But 10:17, daylight
Yeah.
savings
No, it
goes.
wasn't daylight
Yeah,
savings.
and it wasn't daylight
Right,
savings
right. Yeah,
day.
no, for
Yeah,
sure.
we double checked, triple checked it. It wasn't daylight savings.
Um,
But even then, like daylight savings doesn't work like that. It doesn't go back to 10:17.
It doesn't work in a microwave.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so you're checking every clock. You'd have to manually do the microwave. You told us
It was
that you
also
both
the middle of summer. That's not daylight savings.
Yeah.
right. The people in the chat are going to ask that, and are also going to ask if you were on drugs. That's the case. But
Absolutely not.
But
Yeah, we were both sober.
you told us that you both mentioned the time, so you're both aware of the time. You're having this deep conversation, and the detail of the tea. You're letting that steep and cool off. So like obviously, lots of things have happened, and then but then no time has passed. Oddly.
Yeah, no time passed at all.
And
Zero
the
time
Bible
passed.
verse being about patience,
Yes.
which
It
is
was
weird.
just- yeah.
That is weird about God's patience. What do you make of this? What do you think?
Someone in the chat is saying that the angel number 1017 signifies that your life is guided by a higher power and you are on the right path. It encourages
No way.
It encourages embracing new opportunities, deepening your spiritual connection, and trusting. Thank you, RMH297.
Oh, great. Yeah, it deepens. It's deepening still.
Wow. Sorry.
Year
Go
after
ahead.
the fact.
That's wild. What do you so when you realized no time has passed, what are you thinking? What are you saying to each other?
I say, you know what? I think we just time traveled. Like, I think God just made us a time traveler.
Well, it's like one of those life messages you get. You feel like you're not living up to your potential. You're not, as far in life as you should be. You're not pursuing your talents and stuff that you're given, that you have. But things take time, and that you still have time.
That's incredible.
But what a unconventional way to show that.
Yeah, God gave you bonus
That's all
time.
I'm saying.
You got bonus time while talking about not having enough time.
It was definitely a way that God grabbed our attention.
That'll grab your attention. You'd be questioning reality.
Has anything like that happened again? Anything strange with time or weird things like that? I can't believe this is our third call in a row. I mean, our phone lines are open. I don't know who is calling.
I'm totally picking random.
Alex is totally picking randomly. And I mean, we had John call about stuff, but the three big stories in a row were about weird time stuff. That alone is strange. Totally not planned. Totally random. I think that's amazing. But yeah, I've never experienced anything like that. Did it change you guys? Like you said, you were questioning reality and all that stuff. Like, did it actually do something to you afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely put a sense of calm and just like an understanding. It's like you go through phases in life, and each phase takes time. You don't have to stress about getting to some end goal. It's just living through the journey of life, and you'll get there eventually. But don't worry about getting there. Just enjoy getting there.
Incredible. That's incredible. Yeah. What a great experience to have. Also, the fact that the last time story was a couple who have the details, together. Very interesting. Was there anything else that you missed or you thought was weird? Maybe was there weird weather or anything else that you noticed afterwards that was interesting?
No, it was a normal Florida night.
Fascinating.
I guess it was oddly quiet outside, but
it was quiet during that time.
Yeah, it was super quiet.
If you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. You were in your own little bubble outside of time.
I want some.
Yeah, I could use that, honestly. Well, that's incredible. I appreciate you guys calling in and sharing that story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys, have a good night. God bless.
Thank you. God bless.
Good night.
Amazing. What
was
are the
great.
odds?
I love it.
What
it must
are the
mean
odds?
something.
I know. That was cool. That person wrote in about the numbers too.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
We did get another Rumble rant from Goose Nuts. Thanks for making me say that. Thanks for having me on, guys. So
Sick.
I don't know which one of you were.
Thank you. I'm glad I have to read that. That's what you get for making me say the black balls earlier. You get to say Goose Nuts.
Okay,
That's the
balls,
new
nuts,
name
and
of
time.
this
I don't
episode.
know.
Goose nuts and black balls. Let's get to the next caller.
Okay, I'm not going to try Danny again. Maybe at the end. How about not Danny McBride? Are you sure?
I think that means it is Danny McBride.
Are you with us, Danny McBride?
And Danny, don't go anywhere. We'll try again. But this Danny McBride, not Danny McBride, we'll try.
Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. I guess I'll fill the hole that the other Danny left us with.
Perfect. We have another Danny. He's obviously missing in time.
Missing in time. Yeah, we've had a few of those stories tonight, haven't we?
Well, what's going on, man?
So I wanted to talk about something because I think it was tonight on Timcast, or maybe it was Friday night, because I listened to both today. You were talking about having a possible serial killer call in.
Oh, is that you?
Oh, yeah. No, that was...
No.
No, not me. I'm not the serial killer. No.
So...
yeah.
I have a serial killer related story from 2021.
Okay.
Cool.
Let us know everything.
So, I worked for a government contractor that makes armored military trucks in Jefferson City, Tennessee, and I was living in a town called Newport, Tennessee, not too far from there. And I stopped for dinner on the way home from work one night, and I was just scrolling through TikTok. I see this guy. He made a TikTok, and it was, I thought it was just going to be a funny TikTok. He was talking about the 10 worst red flags in a guy that you plan on dating. And the first couple were like innocuous bullcrap, like he spends too much time on the phone with his mom, or he hates going shopping with you, but he'll do it anyway and just whine and moan about it. And then the third one was he keeps asking too many questions about what's going on in the Smoky Mountains. And then there was another couple that were like really innocuous bullcrap. And then it was again, he's really asking too many questions about what's going on in the Smoky Mountains. And I just started asking myself, what the hell's going on in the Smoky Mountains? I live at the base of the Smoky Mountains. So I start Googling and looking for stories. And there were a couple stories, but the one that I found that people said he was referencing was the TWRA, along with the TVA, had started finding bodies in a specific part of Douglas Lake. There's an old highway that runs between Newport and Morristown, Tennessee, and there's a boat launch right off the highway next to a little bar. Do you remember the name of that bar we went to? No. I can't remember the name of the bar, but it's right there off of 25. You're heading north towards Morristown and White Pine. And right off of that boat launch, about 200 yards back, there are like recurring pillars that come up out of the water that are kind of there to tell the TVA exactly how high the water is. And during the winter, when surrounding areas are using more electricity, the water will go down because the dam is pumping more water to generate the electricity. It's a hydroelectric dam system. And they started finding bodies near the ramp that they would take out to do maintenance on these pillars. And when there was a recurring pattern, it would happen on certain days of the week, and it would only happen on certain days of the week that they would find the bodies. And I started reading into these Reddit posts and all these posts on 4chan that were talking about it. I still can't find the TikTok, so if anybody can find that specific TikTok, if you'll have it, Shane, tweet it at Shane.
Okay.
Go on X, send it to him if you can find it. But it all came around to where there was there were lights facing the Tennessee side of the Smoky Mountain, or facing off of the Tennessee side of the Smoky Mountains, that would shine in specific patterns, and each pattern was a different location near that spot at Douglas Lake. And it went on for about 2 years, and early 2024, it just went dead. The local media and the national media never spoke of it. They would only speak of, oh, well, we found this body. I think the County Sheriff's Department was involved in one of the finds. They ruled it a suicide. A whole bunch of different things. And I'm still looking into it. A lot of people thought it was because everybody that disappeared, and it's kind of a funny story how they disappear. A lot of people have attributed it to missing 411. If anybody's familiar with that, which I know the show.
Yep.
I'm sure somebody knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So they were all missing, like they went missing in the woods.
Trails.
Yep.
And a lot of these people that were going missing on hiking trails, some of them were the people that were getting found at the bottom of the lake.
Interesting. So do you have a theory?
My theory is that the lights definitely do have something to do with it. Because I would sit up when I was working day shift. I would sit up after I got out of work, and I would watch for the lights. And sure enough, within 48 hours of seeing a weird pattern of these just bright white lights shining off of the side of the mountain from different locations. I mean, from the location I was sitting at the, not in the parking lot of the Loves in Newport, but very close to it, and you could see the mountains from there. What looks like it is probably just like from that distance a few inches apart or miles apart. And within 48 hours of me sitting up and watching the first time, watching for these lights, a body was found. And they that specific one is the one I was referring to when they said they ruled it a suicide. But the guy was from where I think he was from either Vermont or Connecticut. I can't remember exactly. But the pattern was every single person that went missing was from a quote unquote blue state. But if you're politically involved, you've heard the phrase, there's no such thing as a blue state, just blue cities. So I looked into the areas that these people that went missing were from. They were from blue states like California, Vermont, Connecticut, Washington, Oregon, but they were from red areas of those blue states. A lot of people thought it was like some freaked out redneck Republican from this part of the state that was kidnapping liberals, but because they were from the blue states, but they were from the red areas. It could be the exact opposite. I don't know. But it just so happens that every single one of them was from a blue state, but a red part of the blue state.
How many bodies do you know were found?
That are connected to the lights. The ones that I know are connected to the lights are the ones that I witnessed the lights, and within 48 hours of the bodies were found, were 3. But online they attribute like 26.
In that one lake?
Yes.
Wow. That's wild. And do you know if they had said how long those bodies had been there? Like I know the one was 48 hours.
I've confirmed because I was watching the lights, and then within 48 hours they were found. They had been there for less than 24 hours. So the light pattern was telling whoever found out the patterns where the bodies were going to be before the bodies were there.
Did anyone go chase the light patterns?
There were a few people in the area that were like going up into the mountains to try and find the lights, but it looks like, from what I've read online, that the lights are probably like a mobile apparatus that whoever's doing this would put up, tear down, and take away with them when they were done.
Well, that's creepy.
Yeah.
And now they don't talk about it. They're kind of saying they're writing it off.
Well, they never really talked about it in the first place. They would talk about the bodies that were found, but The local media never connected them. The local police never connected them.
It's like Gilgo.
There was never any kind of talk about a possible serial killer link to any of the bodies.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're worried about one right now, and where is it? Somewhere in New England, maybe Massachusetts. I mean, no one knows how many are operating in this country at any time. It is definitely weird. I mean, people do definitely kill themselves and they drown themselves, but that's a lot of bodies in one place.
And it would have to be just a huge coincidence that all of them just happen to be people from red areas of blue states that come here on vacation. All of them disappear from somewhere on a hiking trail, somewhere in the Smoky Mountains. The three that I confirmed with my own eyes, they all disappeared from one specific hiking trail, and they were within, I think, 8 weeks of each other.
And
maybe 10 weeks of each other.
How do you?
But there's a hiking trail right outside of a place called Metcalf Bottoms. You have to go through Wares Valley from Pigeon Forge to get there, or at least from, if you were going to leave from my area to get there, you would have to go from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, that area, through Wares Valley. And then there's a coffee shop you'll turn left at. That road takes you straight to Metcalf Bottoms. You can park in the Metcalf Bottoms Park, walk back across the bridge you took to get in there, and then go right up the right-hand trail. Anybody who's been there knows the old schoolhouse. They disappeared within 4.5 miles of the schoolhouse, all three of them.
Based on reports that you've seen?
Based on reports that I've seen, I think one of the people was actually on the missing 411 and then taken off of the missing 411 solely because the body was found.
And everyone, to your knowledge, is from another place. I know you said like a red state, but a blue area, but like no one's gone missing who was local, at least found in that lake.
Whatever's tied to this pattern in the lights, every single one of them, all 26, have been tourists from red areas of blue states.
And you said the lights stopped in 2024?
It was either February or March of 2024.
Interesting. Do you talk to anyone else in the area about this?
I've talked to a few people just because I crossed paths with them. There were some people that were involved in the Reddit post for it that just happened to be in the area. They were investigating it too. I talked to one guy from, I'm not going to say his name, but I talked to one guy from White Pine, Tennessee that can see the lights from his house. And he was very skeptical when he started looking into it, but he said he's skeptical but a curious person is the way he described himself. And the more and more people that I think he confirmed 7. I haven't spoken to him since 2023, but he confirmed 7 different finds with finds within 48 hours of a light pattern showing up.
Interesting. You ever like go to the authorities with anything you found?
Yeah, they typically aren't interested. They don't see any causal link between any of them, is what they say. And to my knowledge, the one that I referred to that was ruled a suicide is the only one that was ruled a suicide, just because there's not a whole lot of press releases about what's been going on, and most of the information you get is from either the Reddit page or locals who know about the phenomenon. But apparently it was a big enough phenomenon for somebody on TikTok, just some random guy who makes comedy posts, to talk about it. And want to make a jokingly witty video about it.
Have you ever heard of web sleuths?
Web sleuths?
Yep.
Like I've heard the term. Is it like in reference to like a specific group or something?
It's a website, and there's a ton of people from all over the country who talk about certain unsolved crimes, and they've actually helped solve some crimes. The police sometimes hate them. Sometimes they help the police, and the police are happy to have the help. But you might want to look into that. You can go on there and just search different keywords that might help with the case you're talking about, and see if anyone else is talking about it. Because there's some people in there, like some of them helped me when I was doing a Long Island serial killer, and they had just cataloged everything. Now that's a much bigger case. A lot of people knew about it. Yours is, I don't think, as well known. Like, I haven't heard about it, and the Long Island was in the news, so everyone was talking about it. But there is a ton of stuff on that website, and I don't know, it might be interesting for you to look into it.
Well, I tried to tie it to something that was going on when I was a kid that I learned about when I was like 15 or 16. There was, and you can still find the newspaper article about this from like, I think it was like 1995 or 1996. There was a woman that was running a hotel in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. That's actually where I grew up. But there was a woman running a hotel, and she retired from her job and then just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. And there was a smaller hotel behind what is still a Taco Bell next to the First Baptist Church. It's the hotel that this happened in is actually a Brazilian restaurant now, but a satanic cult had actually kidnapped her and sacrificed her to Satan in one of the hotel rooms. And I think that happened in 1996. I could be wrong on the year, but it definitely happened when I was a small child.
We gotta look that up.
Was this
You said Pigeon Forge?
Yeah, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. There was a woman that I don't remember her name.
I mean,
I
Pigeon
just
Forge
recently
satanic
started thinking
cult.
about it again because of what had been going on with all the missing persons that were found.
So you think this might be like a group of people?
That would be the only explanation on how they're able to get so many lights set up and torn down at like all within a few hours.
That's crazy. I just feel like the lights thing is so bizarre, but it's weird that they just went about their business without anyone. Like, did you say who owns that land? Like, is that just state land?
I'm not 100% sure if they were doing it from I never really went up into the mountains to look for these people just because I was kind of doing this by myself. I do carry a gun. We're a constitutional carry state. We have been for a few years now. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm one of the guys that carries a gun that prays that I never have to use it, but I know I would if I had to. But at that point, I feel like I'd be looking for trouble if I start looking. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I get it for sure. Well, that's crazy. I'm going to keep my eyes open on that one. It's a really wild story. And I definitely recommend you looking into web sleuths because there might be something there. It's a huge network and they do a lot of good stuff. There's definitely some people on there who, just aren't as big of a help. But I've come across a lot of really good researchers and people who catalog very interesting stuff and connect a lot of dots. And they definitely have helped the police. They've helped police find victims' bodies. They've helped get people arrested for murder. It's pretty wild stuff, and it's like all private, So I'll look into it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that when I get home tonight.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you calling in.
All right, Shane, I really appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, of course, man. My pleasure. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Well, we've got a couple of super chats from Drinky Crow. Let's see. They had a question for you. Did you hang with Owen Benjamin, Cashman, or Goldstein? Because good for Free Speech Bohemian Grove comedy looked great. Great show. Keep trucking. So.
Oh, I love Owen. It was great. I hadn't met him in person yet until this weekend. He's been on the show twice.
Yeah.
And it were really fun. He came on the second time to promote his latest special, which is great. But yeah, he was there and it was awesome. What was really awesome was that, him and Tripoli had been beefing on Twitter. You might have seen that. He followed those guys. And it was amazing to be backstage. It was just the three of us for a little bit. And they crushed it. And they were getting along. They were totally cool. Wow. Then they went and did a podcast on stage.
Wow.
Which is when I joined them on stage when we found out about the bombing. And it was ridiculous because like Raven from Nephilim Death Squad literally came up behind me while I'm on the stage and whispered in my ear that we just bombed Iran. And I was like, dude, you just Bush learned about 9/11 to me. Like that, the exact thing. I was like, are you serious? And I'm there on stage. All these people are looking at me. And I'm like, do I have to now stop the comedy podcast while I'm sitting next to Owen Benjamin, who's about to go do a whole hour set of comedy? I'm like, 'cause that could ruin everything, you know?
So now you know how Bush felt, I guess, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I told everybody.
Wow,
I told
okay.
everybody.
You didn't keep it a secret.
And then I attacked everybody. Then I went and bombed Raven. No, it was great. Owen's great. He killed it. Played music. Him and Toad. If you know who Toad is from the former podcast known as Tower Gang, they finished the whole Bohemian Grove by doing a wonderful rendition of a new American classic you might know as Heil Hitler by the artist formerly known as Kanye West. And Sam Tripoli headlined the first night, and it was incredible. We just had a great time. So much laughter, so much comedy. It was great. And yeah, so
cool.
I think they'll have that out at some point. It's somewhere, and I've seen some clips floating around. But yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for
Fun.
asking.
Good times.
It was such a good time.
Do you want to take one more caller?
Let's do another caller. Yeah.
All right. Sean Gallagher, are you with us?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, can't hear you.
You're kind of cutting up.
My pleasure. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Sean, are you there? We can't really hear
We
you.
got a now. No, sorry.
It's been an interesting night with the. Sean, if you can hear us, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You are here. You are on Inverted World Live. What is up?
Oh, not shit, dude. How are you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, dude. A little tired. Been a lot of driving, but I love driving, so it's all good.
I believe it, dude. I caught the tail end of Timcast, and I'm from Rockford, Illinois.
Mm.
A lot of time in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Travel, been to Burning Man, all that shit, dude. Up through raves and shit, man.
Sick.
What? Right. But I love signal processing, and I love like wave crafting. I like waveforms. And one thing that always interested me, you're talking about ghosts when you go in places like heavily industrialized or humanized places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like an electromagnetic signal, just like on a tape, like electromagnetic tape, ferric tape, data tape, whether it be a cassette and whatnot. And so, like, one thing is like an audio engineer. Like, I always thought that there were like ghosts in the tape, in the signal. And it wasn't like there was somebody angry in the room. Maybe a machine wasn't functioning right, but there was always like this imprint that was put into like recordings. Like I had a friend, Tiger, and he would constantly record everything on a tape recorder. And just conversations, just the sound of traffic. Would be in a restaurant. He'd record everything, the background noise. But insanity. But like graveyards and stuff, I always felt like when there was iron oxide, there's always the capacity for like the human mind to generate enough of an electromagnetic signal to imprint memories, or at least like some echo or a shadow of a memory, like into that ferric oxide. And so that's what we're using for like hard drives for decades and decades, tape for decades and decades. And some audio engineers, it's like George R. Moroder, I Feel Love, Donna Summers.
Yeah, he's great.
He was like, man, I captured it. I got it. And it was just like a tape loop.
So are you saying like that there's just this ability to capture this other part of the dimension that we can't see onto the tape?
Yeah, like the esoteric or like the aesthetic. Like, man, like how do you capture like the moment, like within like ones and zeros? Like you can't do that. Like the same thing with vinyl. Like the needle can only run so far through the groove. You're gonna run down the high frequency, the edges, the real texture that you captured acoustically. And so it's like we can never match that, even though we like strive to. It's insane. Because like, man, like you can degrade shit, like just break it down into bits and then it becomes cubic and granular and you know, like you're playing Space Invaders
Mm-hmm.
with music, with Mozart, with, you know, Beethoven.
Well, I think that stuff can pick up something. You know, I think electricity has become a way for us to communicate, or maybe for the other side to communicate with us. And certainly, the recording devices and that old tape stuff and vinyl can capture something. There's definitely a lot of people out there who have a lot of things like examples of that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's wild. I think there's something out there with the frequencies that can certainly be manipulated by something we don't understand.
It's not the frequency. Like it could be a square wave, it could be a pulse width modulated sine wave, it could be a frequency modulated, you know, saw wave. It's not the data that's transferred on the carrier wave. It's like how it's transmitted, and so it's like from a tape. Like you get this like analog, and it's like, I know there's going to be a huge war, analog versus digital, and like the granularization. I don't diminished return.
Have you ever seen the sound waves that can create shapes?
Oh yeah, of course.
What is that called? I forget the name of it, but that's a very interesting thing. You know, they take those certain sounds and they always like recreate the certain shapes. Some of these shapes are like ancient shapes, you know, and they just seem to appear when they're hit with that certain sound. There's some really interesting videos of it online. We actually did I think we did an episode of that with Ian.
No.
Maybe we talked about someone else, but I feel like we did talk about it with Ian. This is a very cymatics or cymatics, yeah.
And man, cascading harmonics. And it's like where it's, you know, you're bouncing off the geometry, you're creating geometry sonically, which is, you know, pressure oscillations in the atmosphere. That's the only reason why sound. I mean, you can do it underwater as well. Blue whales can ping you from like what, 1,800 kilometers, 18.
Yeah, it's crazy what they can do. That's why they're studying them to try to talk to aliens.
Dude, can a blue whale? It can explode your skull with the amplitude of the wave it puts out when it makes a sound. A blue whale can literally like implode you.
I hope the government doesn't know that yet.
Oh no, they've been making the whales deaf. Yeah, they set off these ultrasonic. Yeah, I'm like waveforms. I'm a wavesmith. Like I do pattern. Yeah.
That's why Trump wants to be a whale psychiatrist.
Man, you can jive with them, man. You can jive with whales and dolphins. You can jive. I know you can.
I haven't had too much experience with whales and dolphins, but I think they're cool. I think NASA has had a lot of weird experiments with dolphins. I don't know if you listened last week, but they used to give them acid. And
oh yeah, no, the one lady, she was the dolphin's girlfriend.
That's right.
Like
that's right.
Technically, or what? I don't know if she had like a fake thing for it or whatever to help her out.
Yeah, they had a real relationship.
They've got two things on their mind. No, they kill fish and then use them as fleshlights.
Damn, I don't know about that. Yeah. That sounds crazy.
Oh yeah.
Who's that?
No, they'll launch a fish. They'll launch a seal. Oh yeah, killer whales, same thing. No, they'll launch a fish 50 feet in the air.
You're right.
Just for they're just like right. Props, dude.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's grisly. It's gnarly out there. But yeah, that's wild, dude. I appreciate you calling in. And
yeah, memories in rust.
That's a good album title.
I think that's where ghosts come from. Memories.
I like that.
Cemetery, factories.
I like that. Well, dude, we hope you have a good night.
Hey, there is a massive grave north of Rockford, Illinois. There's over 500 women, children, and men that were in a mental hospital, and they were all I don't know what you would say. Yeah. So there's a mass grave. Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. In Rockford?
It's in Rockford, Illinois, across from the mental state health. Yeah.
Were they burying their patients there, or was it something worse?
It was from like 1862 to 1937 or something, and there's the bodies of 462 men, women, and children who were deemed
unfit for life.
Sterilized for.
Right.
So yeah, north of Rockford, Illinois, right, Rockton in North Main.
Okay. Wow.
Right north, yeah, across from Singer Mental Hospital.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's stories like that all the time. It's crazy. There was just one a few days ago. I forget where it was, but it was like nuns ran the place, and they found a lot of bodies in like the sewage. It's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible story. Well, dude, we're gonna call tonight, and we appreciate you calling in.
Man, you're awesome, dude. All right.
Later.
Yeah.
I feel like that was. I want to go talk to dolphins and whales now. He gave me the confidence to talk to dolphins and whales.
That's what you want to do.
I mean,
what is it? What they were saying? Like the bubbles.
The whales are blowing bubbles, and the scientists are going to be like, "That's how we can talk to aliens, because that's how we can study the whale bubbles." And yeah, the dolphins. I don't know what they're going to do with the dolphins, but that was a fun one. Nice to have you back.
It's been fun.
It's crazy that you haven't been here in a month.
I know.
Or almost a month. Our own like time missing after like 3 weeks of.
We went through a portal.
Yeah.
We blacked out.
It does feel like we go through a portal to get home, right?
Yeah, it does.
Like that's how we get here.
Yeah.
Well, guys, did we miss anybody?
There are a bunch of people in the waiting room. I'm sorry we couldn't get to you. Please call back in tomorrow night. We just run out of time, but the stories were really great tonight. Thank you for everyone coming over from Timcast, and sorry we missed Brandon tonight, but he'll be back in the middle of the week.
Yeah, let them know where they can
back.
where can they find you.
You can find me at I am Alex Ayala on X sometimes.
Not as much as me, because I have an addiction there. It's been so much fun the past few days on Twitter. So much crazy stuff, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Definitely like and share and subscribe. You guys have been so supportive. It's incredible. So sorry for those we didn't get to tonight. Please call back tomorrow. We'll do our best to get to everyone as much as we can, but we will be here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you can find me online at Shane Cashman, and we will see you tomorrow.